Hi everyone. I hope you're doing well and that your Friday is very amazing as mine is, and I believe the Lord has kept you healthy and uh, joyous as I am. Welcome to the Financial Friday session. I think we'll just wait for a couple more minutes before we start today's live session. Remember, the topic is how to overcome financial problems. So as we wait for more people to join us, I would encourage you to keep on inviting your friends, invite everyone that is in the group that you believe they will benefit or they will learn something about money. As we wait for more people to come in, as usual, I'll put some worship music so that we can get to enjoy and feel in the presence of the Lord as we wait for more people to join. Once again, welcome back. I am so excited to see all of you, and only God knows the joy in my heart. So keep on inviting one another, tag your friends, grab your pen and paper as we are about to start. I can see CK Cheriot, you have joined in. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's keep on inviting more of our friends. I can promise you today's topic is going to be lit or fire or hot, because I know it's going to help most of us. I believe each of us at one point we have made some money mistakes that we've found ourselves in, and unfortunately some people, it has taken them years to get out. Others, they don't even know if they'll ever get out of the mess. So today's live session is going to give you a direction that you can follow so that you can get out of the problem you might you might have found yourself in. So keep on joining in. I am here waiting for you. Meanwhile, as I said, I'll put a song in the background, and this song is so amazing. To those that could be asking what's the name, it's called Seasons, and it has been ministering to me since the day began, and I believe it's going to minister to each of you as it has a lot of weight or content. So I hope you enjoy. So as you wait for more, I can see Dennis, you are here with us. Thank you so much for joining in. Keep on inviting your friends. Keep on tagging all your friends, all your investment buddies, financial partners, everyone. Let's invite as many people as possible so that we can start in the next 1 minute. And as we wait for more people to join, I would just like to really thank God for all the feedbacks I got once I shared the testimony earlier on last week on Sunday, I guess. I can say I was super amazed and by what God did through that write-up. A lot of you communicated with me. Some of you shared with me some things that I can say, whenever the Lord leads you to share a testimony, for sure there is something or someone that He needs the person to hear or see. And what I can say, a lot of people were encouraged, a lot of people were uplifted in the spirit, and that was the purpose. And all I can say is that I thank God for using me as a vessel to communicate of His goodness. I believe a lot of people were transformed, mindsets were transformed. To those that were about to give up, especially in the job market, their energy was renewed, and all we can do is to give God all the glory, because without making me pass through that test, I couldn't be able to testify. And that leads me to what I want to say today. If you are going through a very testing period right now, just remember, God will change your test into a testimony. So go through the test with honor, believe in God, trust in Him, keep on praying, and your test will become a testimony in just a matter of time. As always, I'll keep on praying for each member here, because I know our levels of difficulties could be different, but one thing that solves all the problems is prayer, and that is what I can offer. So thank you once again to all that were inspired, to all that wrote me inboxes and all that. I appreciate you, and I thank God for everything. So without wasting much time, because I think I have a lot of points to share with you today, we'll start right away, and as usual, we'll start with a word of prayer. Let me just reduce the volume. So we can start with a word of prayer, then we can begin right away. So wherever you are, bow down your head, close your eyes, let's pray. Father, we thank you for another chance to fellowship once again and commune together during this Financial Friday session. Lord, we acknowledge that we cannot have it unless you give it to us, and we really want to thank you for this opportunity once again. Lord, as I share with your people on matters of financial management, Lord, may you use me as your mouthpiece. May all my utterances be guided by the Holy Spirit, and God, may you give us the spirit of understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, so that all we learn from this session, we can put it into action and be able to see transformation in our financial lives. God, all this is for your glory, and that you may be glorified when we have testimonies on financial transformations, financial breakthroughs, and everything that pertains our prosperity here on earth. We thank you and we honor you, Father. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray, trusting and believing. Amen. So we are now about to start. Thank you so much to all that are joining us. I can see we have Maxwell. Thank you for joining in. CK, you are saying thank you for your time. You are welcome. It's always my joy to be of service to you, especially on Friday. So remember, today's topic is how to overcome financial problems. And as I said, most of us, we found ourselves in financial mess. Sometimes it could be we got ourselves in there out of ignorance. Sometimes situations led us into that financial mess. Or sometimes it's just that you are in a bad company of friends and they advised you wrongly, such that you found yourself in financial mess. As I stated in yesterday's poster, financial problems or financial mess could mean being in massive debt. You owe a lot of people than even the money you earn. Sometimes it could mean you don't have stable income. You don't have money to sustain you. You live from paycheck to paycheck every month. Sometimes it could be you do not have a saving. You don't have any savings with you because you don't have proper money habits that can allow you to save. Sometimes it could be you don't have even an investment. So if anything happens to you right now, you have nothing that you can say, I can sell this and get the money, or I can sell this at a later date to make profit. So all those, they fall under the category of financial problems. And even sometimes financial problems could mean lack of money. maybe due to being unemployed, not being having experienced some business failures or closure. All that, they fall in the category of money problems. And as I said, personally, I don't judge you if you are in one of these categories, because I know things sometimes happen, and sometimes they happen faster than we ever thought they could. Example, maybe you decided to borrow money from a financial institution or a mobile app with the expectation that you will be able to repay the money by the end of the month. However, by the end of the month, something came up, and the money you were expecting to repay the loan, you ended up using it on something else, or on the emergency that came up. So you end up being in debt, and sometimes it could be massive debt. So in such a case, it's not that you wanted to be in debt, but things just happened. And that is why I am here to share with you tips. As always, I always say, you being in a problem does not matter that much as how you will solve the problem. And that is my goal in life. My goal in life is to solve people's financial problems. When I bring a solution to you, a solution that is going to work out for you, that is when my joy is, that is where I derive my joy or satisfaction. Because of course our joy comes from God. So that is how I see success in my lens. So for today we shall share that. Again, I would just encourage us, if you want to get to learn more about money and business management, I have attached a link on top of this live session that will lead you to my YouTube channel. So you can support me by going to my channel, subscribing and watching videos there, so that you can acquire money skills at your convenience. So to start off, maybe I'll just read some of your points. Mr. Kelo, you're saying in the middle of shopping, we listen in. Sure, just take your time. The live session will be here afterwards, so you can catch up with us later. Felix Kadara, thank you so much for joining us. Jane, thank you for joining in. Let's keep on inviting more of our friends. As usual, we will get to learn more. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank our admins, Mr. Diane and Mr. Kelo, for giving us such an amazing opportunity to have this forum where we can empower each other based on the empowerment God has accorded to each of us. And definitely I would also like to thank all the moderators for always approving our posts, ensuring that the group is flowing in the right direction and the vision and mission of the group is being achieved. We really are grateful for all the work you do behind the scene. May God keep on blessing all of you, the admin team. May God keep on blessing you so much, and keep you so that we can get to enjoy this amazing vision. So, how do you overcome financial problems? Number one, you need to have a budget. You need to have a budget. A budget is very important because, as I said in one of my live sessions, a budget is a roadmap to your financial journey. So it will help if you are in let's say you are in massive debt. Like everyone is calling you, when will you pay me my money? When will you pay us? When you're in massive debt, you don't even have peace. This is the time to sit down and have that hard conversation with yourself. And if you have children, sit with them together and create a budget. Why am I insisting that we need to create a budget if you have children with you? This is because creating a budget, it becomes more effective when everyone in your household is involved. So you can't say that you're creating a budget as an adult and you're secluding your child from this discussion, because the child will at some point, especially if they're between the age of, let's say, 5 to 10, at some point they will ask you, like they'll say, "Mommy, I want a candy," and yet in your budget you don't have any extra money to buy candy. Now, if you did not let your child know that this month, baby, we are so tight on finances, the child might not understand you when you tell him or her that I don't have money to buy you candy. But when you include them in your budgeting discussion, you sit down with him or her or them, if they are more than one, they will get to understand that this month we don't have money for candy, we don't have money for going out or dining out because we are on a budget and mommy is trying to get out, or daddy is trying to get out of a financial situation. So creating a budget is very important. It doesn't matter if you are earning very little or if you are earning too much money. A budget will help you pinpoint your needs, your expenses and income. You will be surprised when you start creating a budget and find out that there are things that you are spending money on that you even don't use. So this money, you could channel it to maybe, let's say, repaying a debt so that you can get out of the financial problem easily. Or this money, you could channel it into your savings account. Or this money, you could channel it into your investment project. Example, there was a time I didn't have a budget. So I was just, when money comes, I'm using it. When it ends, I'm waiting. But at that time, I was repaying my student loan. Now, it reached a point I decided, like, I need to know what is really happening with my finances, because I need to repay this student loan as fast as possible to avoid having huge interest. Now I started budgeting, and in my budgeting I realized I had subscribed to a gym membership for 6 months, and unfortunately this membership I had only visited the gym twice, then I gave up. So you see, and I forgot to cancel it totally. So once I started budgeting, I realized, oh my god, I'm paying every month, because it was automatically deducted from, like, electronically deducted. So I realized I'm paying a gym subscription to a gym that I never go to. So all this I was able to pinpoint it out when I sat down and created a budget and started analyzing what am I spending money on, why is there this deduction in my bank statement. So I automatically cancelled the gym membership, and the money that I was paying to a gym that I was not going to, because not all of us can go to the gym all the time, so I know that money I now channeled it to repay my student loan. So I boosted the amount I was paying for my student loan, and within a short period of time I was able to clear the loan. I was able to get out of the financial problem I was in, and I became debt free very faster than I thought. So you can do the same. Get to sit down with and create a budget. If you are able to access all your bank statements, access them and see where money is being spent on. You'll find that sometimes you have subscribed to something that you don't use and you forgot to cancel the subscription, and the company that you subscribe to keeps on deducting the money because you didn't cancel it. So create a budget. A budget is very, very important. It will help you come out it will help you come out of financial problems that you may find yourself in or you are in right now. Again, if you feel that you are not able to create a budget, as always, my inbox is always free. I can guide you on that, and definitely I can help you create something that is customized to help you achieve your goals faster. So the second way you can get out of financial problems, if you're already in, is create an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a fund or money set aside to cater for your expenses for at least 3 to 6 months. Now, you can only be able to create an emergency fund once you know what your expenses are. And how do you know what your expenses are? By having a budget. So you see, having a budget is number one. It will help you pinpoint your expenses and income. Once you are able to know through a budget that in a month I spend, let's say, $1,000 on expenses. So what you do, you now focus on creating an emergency fund that is equivalent to help to sustain you for 3 to 6 months. So if my expenses for a month is $1,000, I will work to create an emergency fund. I will work towards having $1,000 times 3, which is $3,000. So I will work towards creating a fund that is worth $3,000. I set it aside. Remember, this is money you set aside. This is money you don't use it to invest or to give and charity. No, this is money you set aside just to cover you when things happen unexpectedly. So when I have this 3,000 fund, I know that in case I lose my job right now, this 3,000 is able to cater for me. It's able to cater for my expenses for the next 3 months as I get to find another job, as I get to, set up a business, as I get to sort myself out. So if, for example, I said one of the financial problems you could be in is that you could have lost your job, or you could be feeling or sensing that your job is going to end. Maybe you work under a contract, so you're like, my contract is about to end. It will end in the next 6 months or in the next 3 months. You start creating an emergency fund, because once your contract ends, maybe you are not sure if you'll get another one, or maybe you're not sure if the business you're thinking to start will pick up immediately. So in such a scenario, you start creating an emergency fund such that when you will be in this financial problem, maybe you don't have a job, or maybe your business is not bringing in income as you had thought, the emergency fund will cover you. It will cushion you through the period until you transit to the next season. So it's very important when you are in a financial problem or situation, you need to learn to create an emergency fund. Now, you may be asking, like, right now, Sheila, I'm already jobless. Or Sheila, right now, my business is not giving me money. How can I create an emergency fund? Don't worry. You can create an emergency fund very easily. Number one, you can do odd jobs. This is not the time to say like, I have this and this, I can't do this. No. When you are in a financial problem, you focus on how you can get out legally in whatever means that, so long as it glorifies God, do it. If it means washing people's cars, do it gladly, because you know your goal. If it means washing people's clothes at a fee, do it gladly, because it will help you create an emergency fund. So if you are not employed, or if your business is not, like, if you are just right now you don't know what else to do, find something that can give you quick money. If it means selling vegetables in the evening outside your estate, do it with honor. I know sometimes people might laugh at you and say, see, she's selling vegetables. do it with honor. I believe those who are in Kenya, when this pandemic started, the coronavirus started, automatically we started seeing people selling vegetables using their car boot sale, using their car boots. So car boot sale became like boom, boom, boom. And people were like, wow. Somebody, I saw an article, somebody saying, I bought vegetables from a BMW, I bought tomatoes from a Jeep. You know what those people were doing? I believe most of them, they realized we don't have an emergency fund. So what do? Let's use the resources we have to create one. So they started selling using their cars. Instead of your car lying there in the parking, you're paying the parking fee and you're not using it because you're home. Why not make use of it? So find a way, do an odd job. Another way you can create an emergency fund is sell something that you don't use. This is now the time you need to check around your house. You might find, especially ladies, you might find that you have a lot of handbags. I saw one of my friend had like 30 handbags. And when this pandemic started, that is when she started arranging her wardrobe and found that she has 30 handbags. What did she do? She sold half of them. And guess what? She got a lot of money from that. So this is the time you need to look around and, see what is this thing that I have that I'm not using it, and I can sell it to build on my emergency fund if I don't have it. For my friend, after she sold those 15 handbags, definitely they were designer bags, so she got good money. That money is what she used as her emergency fund. So right now, she has an emergency fund secured somewhere. Any money she now gets, she just uses it to pay off her debts, to just settle down. So you can do the same. Check, what do you have in your house? Maybe you have a furniture that you don't even use. Nobody sits on it. You can refurbish it and sell it. There are various ways you can create an emergency fund. All you need to do is to open your eyes, see. I think that is why Jesus was so concerned in healing people who are blind, because he knew the power of seeing. When you are able to see, you'll see like, I have this thing, I'm not using it, let me sell it and create an emergency fund for me during these financial problems I'm in. I'll go to the third one. The third one is, if you want to overcome financial problems, you need to learn to find a way to get out of debt. Now, one of the major financial problems, a lot of people, actually I think it's like, I saw a certain research, it's like 80% of people globally, they have a debt. Either they have a credit card debt, mobile app debt, bank loan, student loan debt, mortgage, car loan, all that. So how do you get to overcome financial problems? Remember, and this one I'll put it in a very biblical perspective. There's a scripture in the Bible that says a borrower is a slave to the lender. So when you are in debt, you are a slave to the person. So if you have a bank loan, you are a slave to the bank. If you have a mobile app loan, you are a slave to the mobile app. And God does not want us to be slaves. You see, I think that is why he even delivered the children of Israel from Egypt, because he doesn't want us to be slaves. When you are a slave, you don't have all the freedom. Freedom is not just physical. Mental freedom is very important. But when you have a debt, you don't have that peace. You don't have that mental freedom. So it's important for you to find a way to get out of debt as soon as possible. As I said, how do you get out of debt? Number one, you'll just be able to know or find a way of getting out of debt by having a budget. A budget will show you where you are spending a lot of your money on. So you will list down incomes, expenses, and the debts you are paying. So you'll find that maybe you're earning $10,000, and 50% of what you are earning is going towards repaying a bank loan. Now, once you have that picture, you'll start having, the urgency to repay the debt faster, so that you get out of the problem. Now, as I was doing this, as I was preparing my presentation, I came up with one way that you can easily get out of debt, and this is through a method we call the snowball debt repayment method. You see, the way a snowball goes, like it melts, slowly by slowly, and by the time you notice it, it has melted and it has become a fluid. So that is what happens in snowball. In snowball method, what you do, you start by paying the small debts first to keep you motivated. Once you repay that small debt, you go to the next one. Now, why am I encouraging you to use the snowball debt repayment method? It's because with this snowball, you are repaying the small debts first. Example, if I have a mobile app loan, then I have a mobile app loan, I have a loan from my friend, then I have a bank loan. Now maybe I have a bank loan of 1 million. I have a loan from my friend of, let's say, 50,000. Then I have a mobile app loan of like 5,000. What happens in snowball method is that you start by repaying the small debt first. So I have 3 debts: bank loan, friend, and mobile app. I will start by repaying the mobile app loan, which is 5,000. Once you finish repaying the mobile app loan, you'll be motivated to repay your friend loan. Then you'll be motivated to repay your bank loan. So this method of debt repayment helps to keep you motivated to keep slaying your goals. So and this is very important to everyone that is in a financial mess right now. This is the time you need to apply this method, because it will keep you motivated. Trust me, once I finished repaying my student loan debt, I was so excited. And I am sure most of you, once you repay that loan that maybe you could be owing someone, there's this excitement, there's this energy that you get, that you even start feeling like you can do more for your finances. So to get out of debt easily, use the snowball method. It will keep you motivated, and it will encourage you to keep on slashing the other bigger debts as time goes by. Of course, there are disadvantages like interest, but since we are trying to be motivated to get out of the financial problem, it's important to find things that can easily motivate you. I hope we are together there. So I have said there are 3 ways you can get out of financial debt. Number 1 is through having a budget. Number 2 is creating an emergency fund. And number 3, getting out of debt as soon as possible. And we have said the best way to get out of debt when you are in a financial mess is using the snowball method. Once again, I'll just highlight it. If you feel like you are not able to get out of debt alone, I'm always here to walk the journey with you. I can break it down, and we can schedule a session where we can find out what will really work for you. And as a coach, I will ensure you are staying in the lane, or you are sticking to it, so that you can achieve your goal as soon as possible. So the 4th way to get out of financial problems, or to overcome financial problems, is by ditching credit or debit card repayment for cash to avoid fees and I don't know how to name it, but I'll explain. You know, when you are using cash or when you are using a credit card or a debit card to pay something, you have this notion that you have a lot of money, and there is a fee that is usually charged when you use these cards to pay. Now for a credit card, every time you are buying something with it, there's an interest that counts on it. So if you're buying something worth $1,000 using a credit card, you won't pay the bank $1,000. You will pay the bank $1,000 plus interest. So when you are in a financial mess, it's very important. If you have a credit card, I don't know where you will put it. You can put it as far away as possible so that you are not tempted to use it, because the more you use a credit card, the more your interest rate goes up, and the longer it takes you to repay it. Now when you are paying things with a debit card or an ATM card, what happens is that usually there are charges. Sometimes it could be $2, sometimes $1, but when you come to count these dollars, they add up to something. Imagine if I went to 5 shops today and bought things using my debit card, and for every transaction that I'm doing, I am being charged, let's say, $5. So 5 shops, that is how much? $25. That is $25 you have given the bank without them giving you any service or anything. So when you learn to use cash, it will help you avoid these fees. And also, you know, when you're using a card, you don't feel the pain. You know, you don't feel the pain of spending. Trust me. If you're going to swipe your card every time, and that is the trick of debit and credit cards, they give you the notion of, or the illusion that you have money. So you'll be like, let's say you go to a restaurant, they tell you, the bill is like 3,000. You're like, okay, it's fine, I can swipe my card. Then towards the end of the month, when you're sitting down to do your mathematics, you're like, oh my god, how did I spend 3,000 on lunch? How did I? So if you learn to use hard cash, it will help you minimize your spending, especially emotional spending. Ladies, are we together? I know you like to spend emotionally, like, oh, I feel like this handbag will match with my dress, I'll buy it now. And to be honest, you don't need the handbag. It's only that since you've seen it, you've become emotional about it. So by learning to use hard cash, it will make it easy for you to get out of financial problems, because now your money will be focused on the things that you're supposed to achieve. One way that this, I'll give you a tip that I use. What I do, I have envelopes with me, the normal envelopes. Now, what I do, once I've created my budget, with these envelopes, I label them. So like I have one envelope for rent, another envelope for bills, another envelope for tithe, another envelope for charity, another envelope for, what do we call it, saving, another envelope for going out. Now, if let's say I have like $1,000, you see I'll have like 5 envelopes. Now I'll put every amount of money in each envelope. So let's say if my envelope for going out has like $200 and the envelope for charity has like, let's say, $300, if I happen to finish the money in the going out envelope earlier than I thought, I'll have to wait. I'll not touch the money in the charity envelope. So by doing that, it helps you because you have envelopes for everything. So you know, rent, there's an envelope for rent, there's an envelope for charity, there's an envelope for tithe, there's an envelope for giving, there's an envelope for saving. By doing that, you find that actually the last time I went to an ATM or the last time I swiped my card, It's the beginning of the month when I'm withdrawing that money to put it in my envelopes. Now, this might not work for everyone, but it's a method that I found it working very well for me. So I don't have to keep on going to the bank. I don't have to keep on swiping my cards. And that way I'm avoiding fees. That way, if let's say I decide to go for a walk in the mall, I'll not carry my cards. So if I see something nice and I am emotional, I want to buy it, I don't have money to buy it. So by doing that, you'll be able to get out of financial problems you could be in, because you'll now channel your money to the most important things. And of course, you'll avoid getting yourself in more financial troubles by buying things you don't need. So we are halfway. I'll take a break and read your comments. Meanwhile, this is the best time for you to post your questions. If you have any questions, please, this is the time you need to write your questions, as we have like a few more minutes to go. So post your questions and I'll be answering them as I read your comments. I can see Betty, you are saying wow, I love the envelope perspective. Trust me, you need to try it. It will help you. Whenever you get money, you have envelopes labeled. Again, sometimes this is what happens. Now, let's say at the beginning of the month, since I know what my expenses are, I have, let's say, withdrawn like $1,000. I've put them in envelope, but in between the month, maybe I've done a business transaction that has given me money, maybe hard cash. What do? I put it in another envelope. So when you have this envelope perspective, it helps you to be disciplined, such that in case extra money comes in, you will put it aside, then take it to the bank, or wait until end of the month reaches and you can now think on where you can put it, maybe in your savings, investment, whatever. Our very able admin says, when you are in debt, you're a slave to the lender. God does not want us to be slave. Yes, that is once I got this revelation, I became fierce. I said, what does God want me to do here on earth? He wants me to reflect a Christ-like image. Now, does God owe anyone? No. Then why did he say if you are in debt, you are a slave? It means he doesn't want me to be in debt. Now, since I found myself in this debt, it's important as a believer to try my best and get out of it as soon as possible, because there are blessings that come with that. And this, I will also highlight something here. There are people, if you are one of them, please, I beg you to change your ways. There are people, once they borrow money from others, they don't return it. This is not about you being a believer or not, but it is wrong. It is totally wrong. You actually attract a curse to your finances. You attract the devourer to eat up your finances. So if you are owing anyone, even if it's just $1, please try your best and repay the debt. There are blessings that come with repaying others what we owe them. Remember, when you are borrowing that money, you are humble, you are, maybe you are beaten up with life, then it is very important for you to repay that money. That is part of your integrity. You cannot say you have integrity, yet you are running away from people you borrowed money from. That is not a kingdom character. A kingdom character is that we need to have integrity, and part of integrity is repaying debts. Don't hide, Don't block them. Don't, start speaking bad of them. Just repay the debt. If maybe you're not able to repay the person right now, communicate to them. Tell them that I'm experiencing this and this, and both of you come up with a plan on how you can repay the money. Staying in debt or running away with somebody's money attracts a curse to your finances. And that is why you might find maybe you're getting a lot of money but you don't know where it's going. A reason could be you owe someone money but you are refusing to pay them. So pay your debts. If you cannot be able to pay them on time, communicate and come up with a plan on how you will repay the money. Because that is what you are called to do. That is what God wants you to do. That is part of integrity. Nelly, you're saying you're watching. Thank you so much for watching. Nduta Murigi, maybe teens will understand the budget's language. No, I think my next session I will share with us how you can get your kids to learn about budgeting and money. And I would also encourage us, go to my YouTube channel. There is a show I did with a friend of mine from Botswana where we discussed on how you can introduce your children to finances. And what came out was that children from as young as 3 years old, they are able to grasp money principles from such an age. So it's not about waiting for your kids to be teens. It's about learning to speak their money language. Remember, the money language I use here for adults, it's not the same language I use it when I have a session with teens. It's not the same language I use when I have a session with children, because I cut across. So whenever I have a session with children to teach them about money, the language I use with them, the money language I use with them, is totally different from the language I will use with adults. And that is something you need to apply if you are a parent and you are in this group. Next session, God willing, I will break it down to this group so that those who have children, or if you are an auntie or an uncle, or if you are a guardian, you can apply those methods and get your children to start learning about money as early as possible. I'll go to the next point. So as I said, keep your questions coming. I'll be more than happy to answer them towards the end. So I'll go to the next 3 points that we have. Remember, I said the first one, how to overcome money problems. If you are in them, or if you're not yet in any of them. Number 1, create a budget. Number 2, create an emergency fund. Number 3, get out of debt as soon as possible. If you're not in debt and you are not in a situation that needs you to be in debt, then you don't need to get into debt because you have access. Just because you have a smartphone and you have access to a mobile app to lend you money, it does not mean that you have to borrow money. Stay away from debt as soon as possible, as much as possible. Number 5, ditch credit or debit card payment transactions and go for cash. Instead of paying with your debit card, or instead of using your credit card to buy something, go for cash. And I said here you can use the envelope method, whereby you withdraw the money you need for the month, then you divide it into envelopes to help you get through the month. Then the 5th point is diversify what you spend your money on. Now, when it comes to spending, I usually say we have two categories of spending. You are either spending your money on needs, or you are spending your money on wants. Now, the problem is most of us, we spend money on wants more than needs. Then after we've almost exhausted all the money we have, is when we remember, oh, I have school fees for my child. I have school fees for myself. I haven't paid it. Why? You started by buying designer clothes. You started by going for a fancy vacation, fancy restaurant to eat. I'm not saying they are bad, but those are wants. You cannot die because of not eating in a restaurant out there. You cannot die because of not buying a fancy shirt. But you can miss out a semester or a school program if you've not paid your school fees. You may have to delay your education because you have not paid your school fees. So you need to learn to spend your money on needs first. If you are in a financial problem, especially, I have a heart for those who are in debt. One of my goals is to ensure I have delivered as many people as possible from the bondage of debt. So if you are in debt, honestly, this is not the time to buy an iPhone, the latest iPhone. No. This is the time to sit down and ensure you buy needs and spend your money on needs. If you have a debt, that is a need. You need to ensure you finish it. There are other basic needs we need to have in our households, like food. You need to have food in your house. You need to have medical stuff in your house. I'm not saying now you go and buy a whole hospital, but you need to have simple first aid kits. You cannot. There are people even in their house they don't have Panadol, and you ask them, why don't you have even any painkiller with you? They're like, I forgot to buy, and right now I don't have any money. I've spent money. And this same person, you find they bought a new shoe, yet they already have 15 pairs of shoes. So focus on buying or spending your money on needs first. If you're in a financial problem right now, this is not the time for you to show off on social media on how you're living life. But this is the time to focus on buying the things you need. I've seen people, you find someone, they have not paid their rent for like 3 months, but they are busy hiring a car to go for a road trip. Just because they want to go live on Instagram that they went for a road trip, even with Corona. So that clearly tells you that this person, they are spending their money on wants, yet the things that they really need, the basic needs, they are overlooking on that. So try as much as possible to spend your money on needs. Then once you've satisfied all your needs, then you can now start spending on wants. The last point is acquire high income skills. This one, I think I'll just I'll explain further. Is that acquiring high income skills? You see, when you are in a financial problem, there are two things that need to happen to you. Either you increase your income, or you reduce your expenses so that you can get out of the problem. Example, if I am in debt, let's say I owe a bank loan. If I have a bank loan, now if I want to repay it, if I want to get out of it, it's either I will reduce my expenses or I will increase my income. Now, how do I increase my income? One of the easiest way to increase your income is by acquiring high income skills. High income skills, people will pay for it. Honestly, people will pay for a skill. So this is the time, if you are in a situation, a financial problem, this is the time to sit down and think, what can I do best? Maybe you're good at baking. Start sharpening that skill and start monetizing it. Maybe you're good at digital marketing. Harness that skill, start monetizing it. It will help you increase your income, which in turn will help you get out of financial problems you could be in, or by increasing your income, you'll have more money that will help you avoid getting into financial troubles. Example, if let's say right now my business does not generate income as I expected, and I have this skill, maybe I'm good at singing. Now what I'll do, I will look for a show where I can sing. Once I sing, they will pay me. Now the money they will pay me, I'll get to use it to replace what I could have to replace the money I could have used from my business. Thereby I will not go into debt to satisfy my needs. So acquire high income skills as much as possible. You could be asking me, what are high income skills? They vary from time to time. Like right now, if you have digital skills, that is something that is selling. A lot of businesses are now migrating to online presence. So they need someone to manage for them their pages. They need someone to manage for them their accounts. They need someone to help them learn how to brand their products. So if you acquire such a skill, you'll be able to charge people for them to use your services. So acquire as much as possible high income skills so that you can increase your income streams now that times are changing, and of course the marketplace is changing. With those 6 tips, I believe you are now equipped, you now have the powers to overcome any financial problem that you may be in right now, or any financial problem that you feel you are about to get in. I will take your questions. I'll now be taking your questions. So if you have any question, just feel free to ask right now, as we are about to end the session. Onyancha Tosha, you are saying very true. Yeah, everything that I've said is very true. So keep on writing down your questions. I think I'll give us like 5 minutes so that you can get the chance to write your questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Meanwhile, click the link on top of this live session and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You may also want to follow me on my Facebook page, which is Financial Wellness Center. Click like the page, follow us so that you can be updated every now and then when we are sharing tips on how you can manage your money. And if you're on Instagram, please go and follow me on Instagram at Financial Wellness Center, and I will follow you back right away. Nduta, you are asking, how do you make the kids understand? I think I said one way you can make your kids understand about money is learning to speak kids' money language. Just the same way we have love language that differs from person to person, we also have money language that differs from age groups. The language that I speak to people who are like 55 years and above is different from the language that I speak to people who are 25 to 35. It's different from the language I speak to people who are 18 to 25. The same way it's different from the language I speak to kids who are 3 years to maybe 15. So one of the language you can use for children to help them learn money skills is including them. Example, if let's say you have a child who is 4 years old, and this child loves eating pizza. Let's say the child is a she, so the child likes eating pizza, and as a parent you know how to make pizza. What you do, every time you want to make pizza, you involve this child. How do you involve her? You come with her, you tell her to write, you both, at first you'll both of you write the list together of what you need to buy to cook pizza. So maybe you need flour, you need, meat, you need tomatoes, you need all those things that you need to make pizza. You will write the list with her. Then you will go to shopping with her. So don't go alone. Remember, this is a project for both of you. Now, once you are going to shop with her for these ingredients, let her know that tomato, for you to cook pizza, maybe you need 1 tomato, and 1 tomato costs how much? Maybe let's say $1. A packet of flour costs, let's say, $10. So once you go to shop with her, you come back and say, for us to make pizza, we need these items, and we have bought them, and this is how the much you've spent to buy these items. So when you are cooking, the child knows that to make pizza you need, let's say, $50. Now you've planted something in this child's mind. So anytime she will hear that we want to make pizza, she will know, for us to be able to cook pizza in this house, we need $50. Simple. What have you done as a parent? You have taught this child money skills. You have shown her, you have spoken to her the money language while doing the project. So you see, what you just did is that you've created a budget for pizza. Now this child, you've already introduced her to budgeting, so it will not be very hard when you sit with her down to write down a budget. Another way is that you can tell each of your child, I know a child who is 4 years knows what she wants. Maybe she wants a shoe. You tell everyone, write what you want for this month, then we'll come together and see if we can afford everybody's needs. So by doing that, you are speaking their language. Of course, you can't start telling a child about mortgage. You can't start bombarding them with such heavy terms. So you start learning to speak their language. Then as they grow into it. They grow into that wisdom. I believe I've answered you in Juta. So I guess there are no more questions. In case you have any other question that you may feel that may come up while you are watching this live session, feel free to post in the comments. I will get time to go through every comment and I will reply accordingly. Once again, if you feel that you need further personalized guidance, or you need somebody to walk with you in your financial journey, my inbox is always free. You can reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to walk with you, and of course to celebrate with you on the milestone you are achieving in your financial journey. So until then, God bless all of you. Stay safe wherever you are, and most of all, let us check on each other. Check on your friends, check on your family, check on the people you know here on social media. Find out how they are doing. It could be as simple, how are you doing, all that. Let's check on each other, especially during this difficult time, and let's keep praying that God may guide us and cover us with His blood. I hope to see you in my next live session, God willing, and I believe you have learned something and you will apply it. Until then, I wish you a blessed Friday, and I'll see you next time.